A lot of ways to score. They spread the court, and Olynyk is fun to watch as well from downtown.
He had 33 the last time these two teams got together. That was a career high. Roxy Bernstein, Miles Simon on the call. We'll see at half.
Welcome to Wednesday Night Hoop, presented by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. We come to you from the Kennel, where tonight, number 3 Gonzaga has won 8 straight, host the Santa Clara Broncos in a pivotal West Coast Conference matchup here tonight. Take a look at the WCC standings, and Gonzaga on top, a perfect 12-0 in WCC play, 25-2 overall. They've swept St. Mary's, so inching closer toward a WCC championship, but it's also big for Santa Clara. The Broncos can stay in sole possession of 4th and put pressure on BYU for 3rd place in the West Coast Conference. Along with the most outstanding player from the 1997 Final Four, Miles Simon. Roxy Bernstein with you. The Santa Clara Broncos have a lot of firepower. 4 1,000-point scorers for the Broncos coming into this matchup tonight, Miles. Can they pull off the shocker? Can they win here at the Kennel?
Absolutely they can, Roxy. They're a team that's filled with upperclassmen led by Kevin Foster and Mark Trasolini, both of them seniors that both put up huge numbers. They're a team that's going to have no fear coming into the Kennel tonight, and they can score the ball at a high level. Santa Clara is looking for their 20th win of the season here tonight. Take us to our one-on-one. What are you looking for tonight? Well, for the Zags, they have so many different weapons, but Kelly Olynyk is having an All-American National Player of the Year type season. He's 7 feet. He can put the ball on the floor. He redshirted last year, got stronger, got in better shape, and is having a great year. And Kevin Foster, he's just one of the elite scorers in the country. He can do it from all 3 levels, get to the rim, great mid-range, and an excellent three-point shooter who can create his own shot at any time.
Santa Clara comes in at 19-8. They're starting 5. Evan Rockamore, Kevin Foster, Ray Cowles, Mark Trasolini, all 1,000-point scorers for the Broncos. And the big man, Robert Garrett, in the middle for SCU. For Gonzaga, 25-2. Kevin Pangos, Gary Bell, Mike Hart, Elias Harris, Kelly Olynyk. Harris and Olynyk could be the best front court duo in all of college basketball. And Mark Few, the head coach of the Zags, 14th season as the head man, 24th overall here in Spokane, 14 20-win seasons, 8-time WCC Coach of the Year. Kerry Keating on the other end of the floor in his 6th year at Santa Clara. He guided the Broncos to the 2011 CIT championship. Longtime college assistant, now doing well as the head coach of the Santa Clara Broncos. Santa Clara in the black, the home whites for the Zags. The Kennel is rocking for number 3 Gonzaga in Santa Clara, and we are underway here in the Northwest.
Roxy, very important tonight, as we spoke to Kerry Keating at shoot-around today, that Kevin Foster, number 21, have an excellent game. Kerry Keating felt he needs to get 25 points or more for the Broncos to have a chance, and he doesn't care how many shots it takes.
Ray Cowles traveled. The pressure by Gary Bell Jr. forced the turnover against the Broncos. Number 3 Gonzaga, their highest ranking since they were number 3 in 2004. That is the highest ranking ever for a Gonzaga team.
And right now still undefeated in conference play at 12-0. Only been done 3 times. 2004, 2006, and 2009, the Zags were also undefeated in WCC play.
And those were 14-0 conference schedules or conference records for Gonzaga. This time, if they do it because of BYU now in the WCC, it would make the Zags 16-0 if they can run the table here in the West Coast Conference. Evan Rockamore brings it up for Santa Clara. Kevin Foster drives, the floater, and the Broncos on the board first.
And that's such a great sign. As I spoke about the possession before, Kevin Foster is one of the best scorers in all of college basketball. 18 points a game this year, can shoot the 3, puts on the floor, and you see the beautiful touch there from 8 feet.
Inside, Kelly Olynyk working on Robert Garrett, goes underneath the spin move for the reverse lay-in to tie it at 2.
when you're a big guy in the post, you like to feel body-to-body contact there. Robert Garrett needs to give about 6 inches of space once Olynyk catches in the post. Olynyk able to spin off Garrett's body and get to the reverse.
Foster drives the lane, swatted by Elias Harris. Gary Bell Jr. off to the races. 4-2 Zags. Mark Tressolini missing long in the rebound. Elias Harris and Gonzaga. Harris tries to go coast to coast and he is fouled.
And here goes Kevin Foster, nicknamed the microwave from his father, like Vinnie Johnson, can heat you up in a minute, score a ton of points. And then Kelly Olynyk, he's playing like an All-American, National Player of the Year candidate, gets away with a little bit of a hook there. And then Elias Harris, who's been the model of consistency in a Gonzaga Bulldog uniform, defense leading to offense with the block shot, and Gary Bell able to finish the easy layup.
Harris puts Gonzaga up 5-2. A 77% foul shooter for the season.
And Elias Harris kind of getting, I feel, lost in the shuffle, maybe nationally. Still having an excellent season, 14 points, 7 rebounds a game, double-double in 2 of his last 3 games.
Elias Harris is 5th in Gonzaga history in scoring and 2nd in rebounding. 6th straight for the Zags.
And Mike Hart getting the tough defensive assignment, having to chase Foster around. Kerry Keating, a master at getting Kevin Foster shots.
Step back 3. Foster missing in the rebound. Kelly Olynyk. Gary Bell pushes for Gonzaga. And Olynyk is fouled on his way to the basket. 2nd team foul in Santa Clara.
And as you watch Kevin Foster, he came off 2 staggered screens there. Mike Hart trying to read where the screen is. Excellent crossover. Gets his defender off balance. Just not able to knock down the deep step back 3.
Yannick Atonga checks in for the Broncos. The 6'8" sophomore from Cameroon. As the center Garrett checks out. Good point guard matchup tonight. Kevin Pangos for Gonzaga. Evan Rockamore for Santa Clara. Here's Elias Harris. Mike Hart stepped on the sideline, and Gonzaga with the turnover.
And that was actually a smart defensive play by the Santa Clara Broncos. Elias Harris drove and drew the defender. But Mike Hart is a non-shooter, and there you see Raymond Cowles fronting in the post, trying to deny Olynyk, just working as best as he can to limit the touches of the 7-footer Olynyk.
Prior to that giveaway, Mike Hart had just 1 turnover in the last 13 games, 227 minutes. Evan Rockamore is swatted away. Gary Bell. There's Mike Hart with the offensive rebound. Stumbles to the deck, gets tied up by Ray Cowles. Alternating possession points toward the Zags.
And Roxy, Mike Hart is what you call one of those ultimate glue guys in the country. And you got to have heart to play like Mike Hart does. Look at that, 4 turnovers in 425 minutes of play. Doesn't turn the ball over, doesn't hurt you when you're on the floor. The hustle plays, the offensive rebounds, more than defensive rebounds, leads the team in charges. I remember we did the Washington State game earlier in the year. He didn't start that game, but got the start in the second half, took 2 charges, a big steal, and a big offensive rebound off a free throw to change the outcome of that game, in which the Zags won by 2 points. And you love the ball movement there by Gonzaga. Side to side, Kevin Pangos, feet set, knocking down the 3-point shot.
9-0 run for the Zags. First points for Kevin Pangos. Santa Clara needs a hoop here. Here's Ray Cowles. Yannick Atonga missing. Kelly Olynyk the rebound.
Look at the big fella run.
Olynyk, 11 straight for the Zags.
Olynyk is just a special player. Roxy, I know it's been noted across the country that he redshirted last year. He's gotten in better shape. Look how he sprinted the floor to catch up with his point guard, Pangos, in that case. And then the soft touch off the glass. Not many 7-footers have that shot in their game.
A travel called on Yannick Atonga. The Zags, 11 straight points. Santa Clara in trouble early here at the Kennel. 11-2, the number 3 team in the land leads it. ESPN News exclusive presentation of college basketball. All right, Matt. 11 straight points for Kelly Olynyk and Gonzaga as a third-ranked team in the land, leading Santa Clara here at the Kennel. 11-2 as the Broncos haven't scored in 3:26. They got the first field goal of the game. It's been all Gonzaga since.
Well, Roxy, one thing that makes Gonzaga one of the best teams in the country and one of the highest scoring teams, they have bigs that can run the floor. Look at Olynyk with the screen out there. And right now, he's on the right block in front of his own bench, essentially about 90 feet away from the basket. Pangos probes the floor, the 7-footer runs full speed, gets to the other block, rim run, block-to-block run, whatever you want to call it. 7-footer, I love to see that Pangos rewards the big fellow for running, and not many guys his size have a floater in their game. He floats it off the glass with a soft touch. Great job by Kelly Olynyk and the Zags.
2-3 years ago, that's probably a play, Miles, that he does not make, but now with a better understanding of the game, the 4th-year junior is really developing into one of the top big men in all of college basketball, if not the best.
He's a premier big man. He's skilled, he can shoot it outside, excellent touch to the 3-point line, can score around the basket, very athletic.
He gets a breather right now as Sam Dower checks in. Of course, Gonzaga, also David Stockton is in as well, the son of NBA Hall of Famer John Stockton. Elias Harris underneath, spins, finishes. 13 straight points for Gonzaga.
Excellent side pick and roll action and a soft throwback pass where Elias Harris able to gather and then finish with his offhand. But for Santa Clara now, it has to be Foster. Look for Rockamore to start to get himself involved a little bit more on the offensive end.
Broncos in a real danger zone right now.
Broncos almost exclusively going to Kevin Foster. They have other scorers on the floor. Trasolini, Rockamore, and Cowles. All over 1,000 points for their career.
Yannick Atonga runs it down to keep it alive. A long three. Foster from about 30 feet out. And Gonzaga clears. Gary Bell missing a three, and Evan Rockamore the rebound. Santa Clara has missed 7 straight shots. Yannick Atonga is tied up, alternating possession points to Santa Clara.
And there's so many weapons on this Gonzaga team. Here, the side pick and roll action. Pangos with the beautiful lob pass, leading Harris right to the rim, spins away from the defender. And you love to see a big fella have the versatility to be able to score with both hands down low.
Brandon Clark is in for the Broncos, a 6-foot sophomore from East Chicago, Indiana. And also big man John MacArthur, a 6'9" junior, checks in as well. As Kevin Foster and Mark Trasolini head to the bench for Kerry Keating. A little bit of a zone look here.
Zone 2-3 defense. This is something they've worked on in shoot around today.
Ray Cowell's missing. Elias Harris the rebound.
And they're probably going to utilize that more when Kevin Foster is out of the game.
Beautiful pass from Stockton to Sam Dower.
David Stockton been playing really well in WCC play. He leads the team in assists in the conference play.
Gonzaga with 15 straight points.
And Roxy, Santa Clara, they're not out of this game by any means. It's not the start that they wanted, but they're a team that can put up a ton of points, average 75 points a game on the season.
Shot clock at 6. Evan Rockamore fouled by Kevin Pangos. And the first whistle against the Zags. ESPNU's Saturday Showcase features one of the top teams in the country. At 5, it's a Big 12 showdown as Pierre Jackson and the Bears square off against the Sooners. Then at 7, Kenny Boynton and the Gators look to avoid the upset as they host SEC Full Arkansas. Saturday Showcase presented by 5 Hour Energy. Baylor, Oklahoma at 5. Arkansas, Florida at 7 on ESPNU and also live on Watch ESPN.
And for Santa Clara to attack this zone, they got to get into the gaps, get someone in that high post area, in the painted area to attack, and then either kick out or drive to the hole. Right now, the ball too stagnant around the perimeter. The ball's only going around the three-point line.
Evan Rockamore missing from deep, but kept alive by Yannick Atunga. Now Brandon Clark tries and hits the 3.
Brandon Clark playing some of his best basketball. He's from East Chicago, Indiana, Merrillville High School. This is a sophomore that Coach Kerry Keating is very high on. 11 points per game over his last 5.
That snaps the 15-0 Gonzaga run. And a whistle underneath and a foul against Santa Clara in the post. Yannick Atunga called for his first, 3rd team foul against Kerry Keating's Santa Clara Broncos.
And now he gets Foster and Trasolini, gets his horses back in the game. They got a quick breather. Sometimes you see the game from a different perspective after you go to the bench for a couple minutes. Now you should see Trasolini and Foster be rested and ready to go.
Sam Dower loses the handle. Here come the Broncos on the run. Kevin Foster is fouled in the open floor. Foul on Drew Barham, the Memphis transfer for Gonzaga. His first, 2nd team foul. We've seen Drew Barham get more and more playing time as of late.
Yeah, he's a guy that can shoot the ball really well at a high level for this team. 18 of his 22 makes are from the three-point line, so he's a guy that really extends the defense because the Zags have such a great post presence down low with Harris and Olynyk and Dower.
David Stockton missing the floater. Yannick Atunga clears. Here is Julian Clark into the game for Santa Clara. Evan Foster. Julian Clark missing from the baseline. And Elias Harris, another rebound. His 3rd. Oh, a pretty move to the basket by Elias Harris.
And that's right. That's exactly what it was, Roxy. The little hesitation. And again, Elias Harris going to his left. He's so versatile. Can't just guard him one way because he can post you up, take you off the perimeter, and take you off the bounce.
Kevin Foster is tied up by David Stockton. And Kevin Foster a little frustrated, but Gonzaga getting it going.
And David Stockton leading the way, leading the break, head up on a swivel, the hesitation. Excellent little pass to Sam Dower. And Bell there on Foster. Sam Dower ready to help in case a ball screen comes. Forcing a tough shot now by Kevin Foster. Ball just goes through their hands on the possession there. No shot clock reset. And then as we see this, hold it right there. Look at 4 Zag players screening out along the baseline, clear the defensive rebound. They're the #1 team in scoring and field goal percentage defense in the WCC. They don't just do it on one end of the floor.
And also one of the best rebounding teams in the country, which is a pretty good combination as they average plus 7.1 rebounds a game. Kelly Olynyk back in. Also checking in for the first time is 7'1" freshman from Poland, Szymek Karnowski. Drew Barham from the corner. Rattles out the 3, and the rebound, Mark Trasolini in Santa Clara. Kevin Foster forced it. Kelly Olynyk the rebound. And a foul on Foster, who's a little frustrated right now. Second foul on Foster.
And this is a little bit of a force by Foster, but it's something that Kerry Keating will live with. As he explained to us before the game, if Foster has to take 24, 25 shots to get 25 to 30 points, he's okay with that. But you see the Bulldog defense, they're just swarming, they're surrounding, they make everything tough for Kevin Foster and anyone else on this Bronco team. You can't think of one possession in the first 10 minutes where a Santa Clara player has gotten to the rim yet.
Karnowski has it stripped. Saved by Barham, but here come the Broncos. Evan Rockemore rattles out the foul line jumper, but kept alive by Brandon Clark. Deflected out by Kelly Olynyk. And Rick Batzel, one of the officials working with Michael Irving and Ken Diddy tonight, says it is Santa Clara basketball.
Now the big question is going to be with your leading scorer, best player on the bench, saddled with 2 fouls. Most coaches like to sit their star players or any players with 2 fouls for the rest of the half. But you have to figure if it gets out of hand here, gets up to 16, 17, 18, he might have to risk it with the senior Foster to bring him back in the game. But we'll see if Trasolini and Evan Rockemore, their second and third leading scorers, can start to get this Bronco offense on track.
Gonzaga foul on Shimmick Karnowski, his first. Third team foul against the Zags. There's a steal by Kelly Olynyk. Has 16 possessions. Santa Clara 1 of 14 from the floor and 3 turnovers. An air ball from David Stockton. And a foul underneath going for the rebound against Santa Clara.
And that's because Shimmick Karnowski was going to the offensive glass. They had to hold him on the offensive rebound before he could get position.
First on Julian Clark. 5th team foul against the Broncos. This Santa Clara team had been playing well coming in here tonight. They'd won 2 straight. And after a 1-3 WCC start, they've won 6 of their last 8 games in league play, 7 of their last 9 overall. Kevin Pangos from deep. Second triple for Pangos.
Kevin Pangos having such a solid year, had 31 points against Baylor and Pierre Jackson earlier in the season, shooting 43% from the 3-point line.
Trasolini off the mark on a 3, and Kelly Olynyk clears. 4 rebounds for Olynyk. Pretty move by Shimmick Karnowski. And a timeout taken by Kerry Keating. And this one getting away for the Broncos early at the kennel. Santa Clara facing the number 3 team in the country, Gonzaga 25-2. And according to our bracketologist, Joe Lunardi, right now he has Gonzaga, Miles, on the top line. Do they look like a number 1 seed to you?
They do look like a number 1 seed. They have so many weapons. They have depth on the inside. They have a Player of the Year candidate. They're 25-2. They handled their business in their non-conference. They can't do anything about their conference schedule. That's who they have to play. But they've beaten Oklahoma State. They've beaten Baylor. They beat Kansas State. I know they lost to Illinois here. Lost to Butler on a somewhat controversial call on Butler's home floor. Beaten West Virginia.
They're 5-0 against the Big 12.
They maybe should be playing in the Big 12, playing Kansas for the Big 12 title. But they're a deep team. I think if they run the table the rest of the way, win this conference, go undefeated, win the WCC tournament, I see no reason at all that their resume doesn't serve them to be a number 1 seed.
Already with 25 wins, it's the 6th consecutive season Gonzaga has recorded 25 or more wins. Here's Mark Trasolini inside. Rolls it in with the left hand against his childhood buddy growing up with Kelly Olynyk north of the border.
Trasolini having a great bounce-back year after tearing his ACL in their first game on their trip to Canada a little over a year ago. He feels he's much stronger, got a great coach's perspective Last year, sitting on the bench, learning from Kerry Keating as Santa Clara struggled all season long, didn't win one conference game.
Last year, Santa Clara 8-22 overall and 0-16 in WCC play. Not just Tressolini, but Kevin Foster missed some time last season. There was a lot of issues for the Santa Clara team to try to maneuver through a year ago.
But as we talked to Kerry Keating today, it's something that really brought the team closer together. Once the season ended, they took a month off. No workouts with the coaches. They were only allowed to go in the weight room and work on strength and conditioning. No on-court workouts, and it really bonded the team. Not one player came in and said they wanted to transfer or quit this program. And it really brought this team together and has made them better going into this season.
Reach-in foul against Ray Cowles of the Broncos. His first. That is now 6 team fouls against the Broncos with 7.5 minutes remaining in this opening half of play. Number 3, Gonzaga up on the Broncos. Coming up, we'll tell you why that surfboard has made its way all the way to Spokane. Chosen to be part of the 2013 EA Sports Maui Invitational. An impressive field going over to the island of Maui.
Definitely.
Next November.
Yeah, definitely impressive, especially if Baylor can keep some of their underclassmen to come back next year. We know Cal is one of the hottest teams in the country. Alan Crabb, one of the best players. He'll still have a chance to return for his senior year. And Gonzaga, they're loaded with underclassmen. Kelly Olynyk, Tango, Scary Bell. Always a pleasure. As a player, I got a chance to go to Maui, play in that tournament. We unfortunately lost to Duke in the championship game to Trajan Langdon, Steve Wojciechowski. They had a great team, Elton Brand on that squad. I got to coach there in 2005. It's a special event. I feel that one and the preseason NIT, if you get the chance to play at Madison Square Garden, those are the 2 premier events in the preseason in college basketball.
Also Syracuse in Minnesota, a part of the EA Sports Maui Invitational coming up in November, right before Thanksgiving. Gonzaga not thinking about Maui just yet. They're thinking about trying to win a critical WCC home game against Santa Clara. Here's Mark Tressolini bumped to the open floor by Elias Harris. And if we his first foul.
Sorry, Roxy. And if we think about a few of the teams that were there this year, how they've springboarded into great seasons. Illinois, who won the Maui Invitational. Butler, who's been a top 15, top 10 team most of the year. And what Buzz Williams is doing at Marquette. 3 great teams that were in that field this season. Look at Mike Hart just working over the top of those picks. Making everything tough right now for Kevin Foster. Excellent show there by Kelly Olynyk.
Kelly Olynyk, the steal, the reverse.
Not easy for a 7-footer to move his feet and not foul in that situation and steal that basketball from one of the premier players in the WCC and in the nation, in Kevin Foster.
Kevin Foster with his second bucket.
You love the Zags offense, just side to side, 3 out, 2 in motion, flashing Olynyk and Harris to the high post area, looking high-low at all times.
Elias Harris rattles out the 3, kept alive by Mike Hart. Here he is again, the glue guy for the Bulldogs. Another offensive rebound, Mike Hart.
This guy's unbelievable.
Out of bounds to Gonzaga, kick.
And the crowd is standing up for Mike Hart. And you see the heart symbols by the student section. This young man, a former walk-on, Portland, Oregon, Jesuit high school, does everything that a coach wants him to do. He's a coach's dream. He has more offensive rebounds than defensive rebounds on the season. And because he got 2 offensive rebounds on that possession, the Zags able to convert on their 3rd shot attempt of the possession, all created by the redshirt senior Mike Hart.
8 points for Elias Harris. Kevin Foster missing, and there is Harris with a rebound.
like how the Zags are just so selective in what they do offensively. They don't really seem forced or rushed. Gary Bell could have taken a three. Instead, works the offense around, gets beautiful post position by Elias Harris. This team is so unselfish, so versatile, so deep, so many weapons.
They called a foul on Kevin Foster, his third.
And then Kelly Olynyk, you love the steal right there, moved his feet, absorbed the contact from Foster, who was trying to draw a foul, used his outside hand to steal that basketball. That way he didn't have to reach across his body. And now a real danger area. 3 fouls on Kevin Foster.
They just changed it. They took the foul away from Foster and gave it to Yannick Atunga, his second.
Well, Kerry Keating, knowing that his team is down 17 points, has to have Foster in the game, even with the 2 fouls. Foster, a high IQ guy, knows when to pick and choose his spots, what he's going to have to do defensively to not pick up that 3rd foul in the last 5.5 minutes.
Gonzaga has beaten Santa Clara each of the last 4 meetings. 26 of the last 28 times these two teams have hooked up, it's gone the way of the Zags. Tresolini, wave it off, charge. And Kelly Olynyk draws the offensive foul against Tresolini.
And they do a great job of breaking the press, get it to the middle of the floor. Pretty close call. Tough one. Olynyk is sliding over at the last second. His feet are in the air, but he's still in legal guarding position. Excellent job of sacrificing his body.
Lob over the top. Olynyk from Elias Harris.
And you know what I love about that? That high-low action is as soon as Kelly Olynyk laid it in, he's giving the finger point to Elias Harris. This is the ultimate team right here. They don't care who gets the shine. They recognize the mismatch. He throws it up high to the 7-footer. Olynyk keeps it up high, goes up in one motion. But if we let it run a little bit right past after it goes in, I'd love to see guys point at their teammates and the recognition that you made a good pass and you passed up an opportunity to shoot or score for a better shot for your teammate.
18 of Gonzaga's 30 points have come in the paint. They're up 21 with 5 minutes remaining in this opening half of play. ESPN College Basketball is available live anytime, anywhere on your computer, tablet, or smartphone at watchespn.com and with the Watch ESPN app. If you're Kerry Keating and you're Santa Clara right now, you're down 21 on the road. 5 minutes remaining in the first half. The Kennel's rocking. This place is going bananas. What can the Broncos do to try to get back into this basketball game?
Well, one thing, you have to start getting some stops on the defensive end. And Santa Clara's a team that has the ability to get out and run, score points in a flurry. But on the defensive end, if you are letting the Zags shoot 55% from the field and score nearly every possession down, that means you're having to take it out of the net, set up in the half court, where Gonzaga has really been dialed in on the defensive end this half. They got to start getting some easier points.
And Gonzaga having a lot of success going inside. They have hit 10 of their 14 shots inside the arc. Evan Rockemore out there with Kevin Foster, Ray Cowles. Nee Harrison is in, a 6'8" senior from Milpitas in the South Bay, in the San Francisco Bay Area. And Mark Tresolini. Mark few counters for Kevin Pangos, Gary Bell Jr., Mike Hart, Elias Harris, Kelly Olynyk, his starting 5, with the Zags up by 21. Foster missing the 3. And Gonzaga comes away with it. Olynyk running the floor again. Goes inside, 32-9 Zags.
Olynyk is so fluid in the way that he moves up and down the floor. He sprinted from the paint area to the block and then was able to catch that ball on the run and then gather himself and up fake and score.
This is a 19 and 18 that they are hammering here at the Kennel tonight. And a blocking foul against Santa Clara. And Nee Harrison.
And Kelly Olynyk just getting the high-low action there, the soft touch off the glass, the defensive presence, and able to finish Gonzaga up big in the first half.
Was 0 of how they did. See it happen.
All right, Matt. Gonzaga's putting on a clinic here at the Kennel tonight. Wednesday Night Hoops presented by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups and playing like one of the top teams in the country tonight.
And it's been Elias Harris, his versatility there on the defensive end. He's there in perfect position to block the shot. Excellent gather and score with the weak hand. The face-up jump shot, because of his ability to drive to the basket, the defender lays off. Now he closes out too long, gives a little hesitation step. And Elias Harris, remember, let's go back to his freshman year. He had that breakout season playing alongside Matt Bolden. Probably had a chance to go to the NBA. He's a guy that loves college basketball, and I would too if I was playing here in the Kennel on a nightly basis. But he's been the model of consistency during his career here. Has never averaged less than 12 points a game, never averaged less than 6 rebounds a game, and has always been over 50% from the field.
Mike Hart with another offensive rebound off the Gary Bell Jr. missed free throw. Harris. Olynyk misses the follow. Olynyk again.
Gonzaga's looking like a well-oiled machine tonight. And I got the chance to talk to Mark Few at shoot-around today, and I said, what can your team get better at this point in the season? And a great pass from Rockamore to the diving John MacArthur for the layup. But he said they're just working on maximizing how many good possessions they can have in a game. And that's on the defensive and offensive end. If they're playing defense, talking, rotating, having a good closeout, making a team take a tough shot. On offense, ball movement, side to side, getting a guy an open three, a good layup, or an excellent shot. And they're doing all those things on both ends of the floor tonight.
Mike Hart. Three.
I mean, just when you don't think you have to guard someone out there on the floor, the young man had only taken 28 field goal attempts coming into tonight, but had knocked down 50% from the three-point line.
Open jumper missed by John MacArthur. (37-11). The Zags lead it here late in the first half in Spokane. Harris and one. Just a nightmare, a disastrous first half for Santa Clara.
And Santa Clara, Roxy, they're no slouches. This is a good basketball team, an experienced basketball team. Look at Olynyk eating up the space in the lane. The Broncos too late on the closeout. Elias Harris making it happen on the drive, takes the contact. The senior from Speyer, Germany, having another all-conference type of year.
Third foul on Kevin Foster. And Harris now 5 of 5 at the line and a game-high 13 points. He by himself is outscoring Santa Clara. And a foul called against Gonzaga, and David Stockton whistled for his first. And 2 free throws for Santa Clara here with 1:57 remaining until halftime. And this is you talked about, they're a good team. They went into Cameron Indoor Stadium and really gave the Blue Devils a run for their money at Duke in late December. They won on the road at St. Louis. And these two teams went down to the wire in Santa Clara early in WCC play and a 7-point win for Gonzaga.
I mean, they're a team that takes care of the basketball normally, only average 12 turnovers per game. They're already halfway there tonight. They shoot the ball well. They're in the top 15 in the nation in scoring. But Gonzaga is just taking it to them on both ends of the floor, just putting on a spectacular performance here in the first half.
Underneath, Elias Harris.
And you love the patience of Harris. He didn't have what he wanted in the post. Kicks it out, side pick and roll. Beautiful pocket pass from Stockton to Harris.
Kept alive by the Broncos. Denzel Johnson in the game for Santa Clara. John MacArthur missing in the rebound. Mike Hart. 6 rebounds for Hart here in the first half. 18 wins by double figures for the Zags this season. And they're on their way to another one here in the final minute of the first half. Kyle Dranginis in, redshirt freshman for Gonzaga. Offensive foul. Wave it off, and Rick Batzel says we're going the other way, and Elias Harris called for his second with the push-off in the post.
And that's excellent recognition by the Zags. They get to the high-low, but Elias Harris just extends that right forearm out a little bit too much against Evan Rockmore. Excellent call by the official.
42-13, number 3 Gonzaga all over Santa Clara here. Mark Tressolini gets the turnaround floater, a tough shot, and Tressolini with his second bucket.
Tressolini had an excellent game against Gonzaga when they played him at home, 19-9. He's a guy that can score inside and out, and they'll need a big second half from him if they want to cut into this deficit.
The Zags playing for the final shot of the half. Stockton down the lane to the basket. Hard to play a better first half than number 3 Gonzaga did here at the Kennel tonight.
It was pretty much played to perfection on both ends of the floor. Balanced scoring, lockdown defense. Zags with a dominating performance in the first half.
Fewest points and a half this season for the Santa Clara Broncos as Gonzaga. Nearly perfect in the first 20 minutes. They're all over Santa Clara. Now to Mac Schick and Tim Welch in the studios.
Thank you, Roxy. Matt Schick along with Tim Welch. Does Gonzaga look like a #1 seed to you?
That's not fair. What just happened? It's not fair. You know, these two teams played January 5th at Santa Clara. It was a 7-point game. Santa Clara is a very good team, as Miles was just talking about. And the thing about this Gonzaga team, which maybe stretches it above the past marked few teams, besides the size and the great shooters and the length and the depth and the great coaching,
what else
is they defend.
Right.
They defend better. I mean, they don't just sit in the zone and hope to outscore you. They get up after you, and that's what they're doing to Santa Clara right now.
All right, Gonzaga looking good. Kansas still in.
(44-15), number 3 Gonzaga leads Santa Clara. Wednesday Night Hoop presented by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. The Gonzaga students here at the Kennel living it up right now. Just a sensational first half. Hard to imagine Gonzaga playing any better in the first 20 minutes than they did here tonight. Along with Miles Simon, Roxy Bernstein with you, and the Zags. Miles completely dominating Santa Clara in every facet of the game.
They did. It was arguably the best performance I've seen in a half this season. It was defense, it was offense, it was everybody sharing the basketball, and it was a total team effort in that dominating performance.
15 points by Santa Clara, the fewest they've scored at a half this season. And Gonzaga at both ends of the floor is just getting it done.
Well, if you like good basketball and you like solid fundamentals, guys that play hard, Mike Hart is your guy. Swarm Kevin Foster there, quick on the offensive rebound, active there, pursuit of the basketball, a desire to just make plays, the hustle. Look, he had a point-blank layup right there, and he just dribbled it out for his teammates, and then let's reward him with the one shot, and he knocks it down. And Mike Hart is definitely loved here in Spokane in the Kennel. One of the best defenders. Look what he does. Tyler Hawes is an elite scorer. I've seen BYU in person this year. Can score from all 3 levels of the floor, shut him down to 1 point as the primary defender, and tonight made everything tough for Kevin Foster when Foster's been in the game for the Santa Clara Broncos.
Yeah, really frustrating Foster, who has 3 fouls already. And Kevin Foster came in averaging 18.5 a game. He is the 2nd all-time leading scorer in the history of the West Coast Conference. Over 22, or approaching 2,200 career points for Kevin Foster, only 4 in the first half tonight. In the Big Four, for Gonzaga, for Santa Clara, they're 1,000-point scorers as Mark Tresolini with the bucket. They combined to go 4 of 20 from the field in the first half.
And let's watch for Santa Clara, and that's a great start to the half. This team is going to go down fighting and scratching and clawing. They have a lot of heart, a lot of toughness on the squad, and especially they have a lot of experience.
Elias Harris with the offensive rebound and put back.
But it's those little plays that you have to have if you want to start putting a dent in this deficit here. Pangos clearly misses the layup, but they don't clear the defensive rebound.
Ray Cowles follows his own miss, has it stripped. Olynyk on the floor diving for it, but throws it away. Evan Rockamore, a clean look. Olynyk the rebound and a foul underneath. They're getting Olynyk. No, they're saying fouling Robert Garrett of Santa Clara.
And here's Mark Tresolini, just an over closeout, too deep by Elias Harris. Tresolini makes him pay, getting all the way to the rim and throwing it down. One of those rare points in the paint for Santa Clara. They were outscored in the first half, 28-4 in the painted area.
Yeah, keep in mind, Gonzaga had a huge halftime lead against St. Mary's here at the Kennel before the Gales came back in the second half and made it a ball game, but it wasn't 29 points. And Kevin Foster immediately out of the game. Julian Clark in for him, the sophomore from Toronto. Santa Clara comes away with it. Here's Evan Rockamore. Rattles it out. Mark Tresolini hustling for the rebound. And a reach-in foul called against the Zags.
Well, I can already tell the energy level by Santa Clara has been picked up by 100%. Tresolini coming from the weak side and getting that offensive rebound and knocking over Mike Hart in the process. But you can tell Santa Clara is going to be much more physical, play much harder in the second half than they did in the first half.
Do you think Kerry Keating challenged his team in the locker room at halftime?
You think? You think he had some words of encouragement for the Broncos coming out here? Kerry Keating is a fighter, and he is a tough coach. Has a great mentality out there.
Kevin Foster from deep. Way off the mark. Elias Harris, another rebound. And a block called on Robert Garrett of Santa Clara, his second.
And I love to see what Mark Few allows his guys to do. Elias Harris is the 4-man. Not too many foremen in the country can lead the break, give a crossover, and then pass it to your point guard who's able to draw a blocking foul. And you see right now what Kerry Keating is doing. You're asking why Kevin Foster is coming out of the game. Foster has 3 fouls. He's trying to protect him early in the half from picking up a 4th and trying to make offensive for defensive substitutions as best as possible.
Elias Harris thought about the 3.
And Elias Harris needs to have confidence in that shot, Roxy. In his career, he has never shot under 35% from outside the arc until this season. And you can tell he's lost confidence in his 3-ball.
Another offensive rebound from Mike Hart. Shot clock at 1, and it stopped.
Michael Irving saying the ball hit the rim, and that it should have been a reset.
It was stopped at 2. And Michael Irving, the lead official, working here tonight.
And there the shot goes up. And it does graze the front of the rim. You can tell by the angle of the ball changes as it heads straight down instead of heading towards the baseline. Excellent eyes by the official, Michael Irving.
Even little plays like that are going Gonzaga's way tonight. So it is a 32-second shot clock now for Gonzaga. And the Bulldogs, their only 2 losses this season. Once here at home to Illinois in a game where Brandon Paul took it over down the stretch. It was phenomenal for Illinois here in early December. And then in mid-January losing at Butler.
And those were the 2 ranked teams. Illinois is not ranked currently, but they were number 13 in the country. And
Olynyk!
That's ridiculous. Kelly Olynyk can do it all. We talked about his athleticism. He slimmed down since last year, just worked on his game, became a better finisher around the rim. One of the best in the country, 3rd in the nation in field goal percentage. But you love the pocket pass from Gary Bell that splits the 2 defenders, and then Kelly Olynyk with takeoff outside of the lane, and at 7 feet, not too many guys are going to be able to contest that. Mark Trasolini not able to get up high enough. Kelly Olynyk having a special type of season in a Bulldog uniform.
Gary Bell Jr., the floater, gets the roll. Everything falling for the Zags tonight. 33-point lead. And the drive, Evan Rockamore quiets the crowd briefly.
I really like Evan Rockamore. He's one of the better point guards in the WCC. He's a junior from Foothill High School in Henderson, Nevada. He's having an excellent year, shooting over 30%, actually 35% from the 3, averaging 12.5 points. Needs to assert himself a little bit more here in the second half. And here's the problem Kerry Keating runs into now, doing the offense for defense substitution. Now you've had multiple possessions with your leading scorer, Kevin Foster, not on the floor.
Kevin Pangos from way out there. Yannick Atanga claims the rebound and a foul. And it's against Gonzaga and Kelly Olynyk.
And the Zags can hurt you in so many ways. The pocket pass and the liftoff and throw down by Kelly Olynyk.
Two teams look to strengthen their resume as Wooden Award candidate Doug McDermott and the Blue Jays square off against sharpshooter Matthew Dellavedova and the Gales. The Ramada Worldwide Bracket Busters. Creighton versus St. Mary's Saturday at 6 o'clock on ESPN and also live on Watch ESPN.
That's a game I'm really looking forward to seeing. Doug McDermott and Creighton has been struggling as of late, but St. Mary's, they need a win like this. They didn't play a tough schedule in the non-conference. Those 2 losses to Pacific and Georgia Tech were down at the DirecTV Classic, a tournament that you covered earlier in the season. But Matthew Dellavedova, he's someone that's special to watch, one of the best point guards in the country. But I think at the end of the day, St. Mary's is going to have a chance, especially if they win that game at home, to get into the big dance.
Yeah, it's a big week for the Gales. Not only do they have Creighton on Saturday, but they're also hosting BYU in Moraga tomorrow night.
And remember, at BYU, it took a runner from 35 feet from Matthew Dellavedova to pull off the win in Provo.
Sam Dower in for Gonzaga. Eight on the shot clock. Mike Hart rattles in the three. He is doing absolutely everything for Gonzaga.
And he just waits and bides his time and sees when he has an opening, and then he takes advantage of it. Now he has to go back to work on the defensive end, hawking Kevin Foster, not giving him anything easy coming off of all those screens.
Kevin Foster left the ball behind. Mike Hart with the steal. Sam Dower.
All started with the defense by Mike Hart. A great closeout by Foster. A great closeout on Foster. And then able to steal that basketball. And again, in the passing lane.
Lost the ball going up.
The bench was about to go nuts, Roxy. I was watching. The whole Zags bench was standing up, waiting for that dunk to happen. Mike Hart, I don't know if his hands are big enough to palm that ball.
And Santa Clara comes away with it. The bench, I was worried about the students behind us here at the kennel. Another turnover for Santa Clara. Just a disastrous night for the Broncos.
Mike Hart, a young man, shooting 50% on the season from the three, going into tonight, wide open three, and then the defense. Good closeout, little bit of contact. Foster falls down. Then Hart leading the way in transition. Gary Bell, the extra pass. Sam Dower, the trailing big. And he's doing it all breathing out of one nostril. That's what happens when you're the glue guy who's taking most of the physical contact. You get a little bit of bloodied and bruised and battered around. But that's nothing for Mike Hart. Easy to handle.
And one, Sam Dower.
This is just too easy. Robert Garrett gets caught behind. Garrett is 7 feet tall, but he's standing upright. That's why Sam Dower is able to get him on his back, post him low inside of the painted area, and get to the left-handed jump hook and knock it down. And you just see there's so many weapons from this Gonzaga team. They're a team that's had 7 different players have 20-plus point performances this year. So there's not necessarily, even though Olynyk is the guy that's having the Player of the Year, National Player of the Year type season, All-American year, there's a lot of guys that can bring it on different nights for the Bulldogs.
Gonzaga by 39 here over a pretty good Santa Clara team. Sam Dower clears. Gary Bell Jr. Dower three. And the rebound, Evan Rockamore for the Broncos. You've seen a lot of impressive performances this season in college basketball. Is this the best you've seen by a team?
Most complete. Through nearly 30 minutes of a basketball game, this is the most dominating performance that I've seen in person this season. And they do it on both ends of the floor. When you think of the Zags, you think of some of the great scores that they've had in the past. Great point guards, Dan Dickow, Blake Stepp, the wing players, Adam Morrison. But this is a team effort out here tonight on both ends. So unselfish, passing up good shots for great shots.
The number 3 team in the land, and Gary Bell Jr. with a three. 40-point lead for the Zags.
And maybe if you're a Bronco fan, you're wondering why Kerry Keating hasn't called timeouts. I think right now, when you're just getting steamrolled like this, there's not much you can do. He's trying to let his team play through it. Probably take this as a learning experience. I don't even know if you watched the tape of this one because it's been mostly Gonzaga. And there you see Stockton with a beautiful pick and roll. What I love to see from the Zags, they can make this pocket pass, and that's a pass that comes from your hip area, leading the big men to easy layups. And Mike Hart doing it all. Been on the defensive end, the offensive end. The glue guy, one of the best in the country.
This car's too small.
Wednesday Night Hoop presented by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Number 3 Gonzaga cruising here at home against Santa Clara. Kelly Olynyk, part of that north of the border influence. A couple of Zags contribute here.
Well, Canadian basketball, and especially on the national level, is on the rise right now. And it starts with a lot of the college guys that are making a great impact. Kevin Pangos, Mike Kabongo, Anthony Bennett is playing himself into a top 5 pick in this year's NBA draft. Kelly Olynyk doing the same thing, having an All-American year. Nick Stauskas has been an instant impact as a great shooter and a versatile wing player for a top 5 team in Michigan. But let's not forget Dwight Powell, what he's doing right now for Stanford. Kyle Wiltshire at Kentucky. And then the '1 high school player in the country, Andrew Wiggins, who's going to either probably go to Florida State or Kentucky. He's an elite level athlete, can shoot the ball, 6'7", 6'8", can do it all. But the Canadian basketball, Steve Nash is the GM, Jay Triano, the coach out there. They had a training camp for about 5 days with a lot of the top players, when you include Andrew Nicholson, who's in the NBA. Into that mix, Tristan Thompson.
Gonzaga in control, a dominating performance tonight over the conference rivals, the Santa Clara Broncos.
Yo, yo, yo. Yo.
Sunday night basketball returns this week as senior Michael Snare leads the Seminoles against Eric Green and the Hokies. Coverage begins with ACC Sunday night basketball. Pre-game at 5:30, then it's Florida State versus Virginia Tech at 6 on ESPNU and also live on Watch ESPN. Gonzaga, dominating performance. Just a tremendous showing by the #3 team in the country over Santa Clara. Here headed to being on the top line of the NCAA tournament and getting a #1 seed. But still a lot of work to do for Gonzaga. 3 games still left in the regular season for the Zags. And then the WCC tournament in Las Vegas. St. Mary's, who won the crown last year. Yannick Atanga is fouled by Sam Dower. The Gales, by the way, not only won the WCC tournament last year, but also the regular season crown.
Ending a long streak that was held by Mark Few and Gonzaga.
Yannick Atanga, a 43% free throw shooter.
Well, this is a young man. He's a redshirt sophomore for Kerry Keating. Getting more playing time this season, averaging nearly 6 rebounds per game. Great athlete, but the thing that's been getting him on the court, getting him more playing time, is a better understanding of where to be on the defensive end. Not a great low post scorer yet, but someone who's still developing.
That's the fewest points that the Broncos have scored under Kerry Keating in a game on New Year's Day against the Gales back in 2008. They're in danger of suffering their worst defeat ever to Gonzaga. Stockton, 3. .41 lead, the largest for the Zags. Del Johnson runs it down. The biggest win ever for Gonzaga against Santa Clara was here in January of 2009. A 42-point margin. The Zags beat Santa Clara at 95-53. David Stockton off to the races.
And David Stockton, he has great anticipation. He was part of the double team on the sideline right there. Saw the ball come out of the double team and saw a chance for a loose ball. He leads this team in steals, gets that a little bit from his father, who's the all-time leader in NBA history in steals. But Stockton, great anticipation, excellent hands.
A strip and a steal by Sam Dower. Boy, this clock can't move quick enough now for Kerry Keating and the Broncos. Kyle Dranginis losing the ball. Ray Cowles comes away with it. Pull-up three. Knocks it down in transition.
Ray Cowles, a senior from Hopkins High School in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Went over the 1,000-point mark in his last game. Only went 1 for 9 from the field, but he's a guy that can fill up. Santa Clara, only one of 4 teams across the country that have 4 1,000-point scores on their roster. The other 3 being NC State, Davidson, and Indiana picked up the feat last night, adding their 4th 1,000-point score.
It's an experienced ball club that Kerry Keating has. But having a very rough night here at the Kennel in Spokane.
And as we know, this Santa Clara team, they'll be resilient. They'll have to bounce back quickly. They're a team that's fighting for the upper half and trying to stay in the fourth spot for the WCC tournament. There you see the 4,000-point scores. Kevin Foster is 3rd all-time right now in WCC history. He'll have a chance to be close to Hank Gathers if he can make some type of run, or Santa Clara make some type of run in the WCC tournament and maybe in a postseason bid.
Foster 10 points behind Terrell Lowry, a former point guard for Loyola Marymount, for 2nd on the all-time and WCC scoring.
And only he and Terrell Lowry have 2,000 points, 400 assists, and 200 steals in WCC history.
Here's Robert Garrett banging away against Szymon Karnowski, and a foul against the 7'1" freshman from Poland. Here's that list. The top scorers in WCC history, and the great, but the late Hank Gathers at the top. Boy, those were some fun teams to watch back. Paul Westhead in the late 80s into the early 90s.
Yeah, that was when I was in junior high in my first couple of years of high school, watching them try to score in 7 seconds or less. And you know, when Bo Kimball was shooting the left-handed free throws in the NCAA tournament, just a special time to be in Southern California.
I was always a big Jeff Fryer fan.
Jeff Fryer was also Tom Peabody.
Hair steamer. One out of 2 for Robert Garrett.
But as we were speaking about, Santa Clara wants to stay in this 4th spot because the top 2 teams in the WCC tournament get a double bye. The 3rd and 4th place teams get a single bye.
That's why it's important for Santa Clara to stay in the top 4. And a hard foul as John MacArthur is called for a flagrant by Michael Irving as he knocked Guy Landrietti to the deck.
And that's just a frustration play by John MacArthur. And Guy Landrietti, we see the hard drive to the basket, and John MacArthur makes no play for that basketball.
The Kennel tonight, and clearly have established themselves as the best in the West, at least in your best of the West poll.
They've been dominating. They handled themselves very well out of conference. Even though Arizona's in 2nd place, I still feel they're the 2nd best team in the West right now behind the Zags. Oregon, they're in 1st place. They're hanging on right now without Dominic Artis. I feel they'll be a better team once they get him back. 4-3 without him. I love what New Mexico's been doing. I think UCLA is still a sleeper team. I know they have struggled a little bit as of late, but the talent is there. And UNLV fans will probably get on me because they just beat Colorado State on that last second shot, but all of Colorado State's losses have been on the road to very good teams. But I think the West is as deep as it's been in a very long time. If you look at Joe Lunardi's bracketology, he has 6 teams from the Pac-12 in the NCAA tournament. At this point, Cal and Arizona State in the last 4 in, as compared to last year when the Pac-12 only had 2. WCC, a good conference. The Mountain West is going to get probably 4 teams to the tournament also.
They're the all-time #1s from out west. No surprise, UCLA on top of that list. But UNLV.
How about this team? I think we played a little bit as a #1 team for a part of my career. Fortunate enough to do that.
You guys were #1 coming into the next season after winning the national title.
That we were. We returned everybody, our whole starting 5. Had a great season, unfortunately. The great Rick Majerus, who unfortunately passed away earlier this year, really took it to us in the Elite 8 game down in Anaheim.
44-point lead now for Gonzaga. It is their largest of the night. Evan Rockamore missing. Shimmick Karnowski is fouled by Rockamore.
Rockamore's holding his hand, and he was the one that initiated the blow onto Shimmick Karnowski's face right there. If you see, we see this again. Rockamore misses. He goes up to try to get the offensive, try to swipe at that ball, and Rockamore comes away the one holding his hand. Karnowski is a big, big human being. 7'1", a little over 300 pounds. But Coach Few has really praised him, losing weight, continuing to work on his conditioning all season long. His minutes haven't been great as of late because of matchups and teams they played. They played USF, who went really small, and that's just not a place for Karnowski. Didn't have a matchup on the floor, but he's a guy that's going to be a great performer in this league for the next 3 years. And look at that, eating up that space and getting to that pretty jump hook.
Sam Dower is fouled after the offensive rebound. He'll go to the foul line here. Gonzaga taking a step closer toward locking up the regular season crown here in the WCC.
And they're a team. We talked to Mark Few at shoot-around today, Roxy, and I asked him, you know, how do you keep a team from, you know, not looking forward and looking ahead? I mean, you're undefeated in the league. You're top 5. You know, everybody's talking about you being a Final Four team. And he just said this team actually just lives in the moment, taking it really game by, I know it sounds cliche, but he said they really just take it game by game, day by day. And they have not been caught looking ahead at all this season.
On their way to 26-2, most wins in the country. And a reach in against Sam Dower, his second foul. But a 46-point lead over Santa Clara. Is a good basketball team. This is not a team that's down to the 300s of the RPI. This is a top 100 RPI team they're destroying here tonight.
They're a very talented team, and you couldn't have expected this. Kevin Foster struggling like he is. Trasolini, Rockamore, these are all guys that are like all WCC type of performers. And Gonzaga is just making it look like a complete mismatch.
Julian Clark with the 3. Santa Clara at 19-8 coming into this one, and 7-5 in the West Coast Conference. I know it's Bracket Busters week coming up, Miles, but Gonzaga really is the original bracket buster when you think about it. You go back to 1999 and what Dan Munson did here at Gonzaga when they went to the Elite 8, and Mark Few taking over for Munson, who's now at Long Beach State. But the Elite 8 in 1999, the Zags are the original bracket buster.
I loved watching that team play. I remember Matt Santangelo, who's now the radio analyst for the Zags. He's a good friend of mine. But Richie Fromm, Casey Calvary, what an exciting team to watch. And they lose, you know, late in the game to UConn, who went on to win the national championship. But they are the team that really started all this mid-major talk, bracket busters, Cinderella stories.
Mark Few has yet to break through and get to the Elite Eight, where Munson got the Gonzaga program in 1999. He really deflects talk, does not want to talk about, well, is this the best Gonzaga team that he's had? I think time will determine that, but this team certainly has that potential to make a deep tournament run and maybe get to a Final Four for the first time.
They do. If you think back to when Adam Morrison was here and they lose to UCLA, you know, that team was really heavily reliant on Adam Morrison to get 20 to 25 points every night. This Gonzaga team's not going to be reliant just on one player. As we spoke about, they have had 7 guys who scored 20 or more points in a game. It can be a different guy every night. You know, even though Olynyk has been the most consistent and leading scorer all season long, there's so many different weapons they can go to. And they're going to be a very tough team to prepare for in the tournament. Nobody has the size, the skill, or let's say very few teams across the country have the size, the skill, the depth, the versatility that this team has.
And with the way the WCC tournament is set up, with Drew Barham missing and Yannick Katanga the rebound for the Broncos. 9 teams, they have a double bye format for the top 2 teams. So if Gonzaga wins the regular season crowd, as Shimon Karnowski called for the foul, they will receive a double bye directly into the semifinals. And that's why it's key for the Gales to stay at number 2, and they'll benefit as well. And for Santa Clara to stay in the top 4, it gives them a bye into the quarterfinals. The 3 and 4 spots get the single bye, while the teams 5 through 9 will play it out to try to move on.
And for Santa Clara, their next 2 games are obviously definitely winnable. At Portland, who struggled most of the season, versus LMU at home, who's in last place in the conference right now. But then a tough game at St. Mary's to end conference play.
And the crowd going crazy because walk-on Rem Bakamis is coming into the game, a freshman from Longview, Washington. And the walk-on replaces Karnowski. (77-35), a thorough thumping by the Zags here tonight. And Kevin Foster just had a rough night in his final trip to the Kennel.
And he hasn't played well here in his career. In the 3 previous games, 14 points a game, well below his average for his career. Only 30% field goals in Spokane.
Kevin Foster trying to regroup with the Broncos as they head to take on Eric Rebineau and the Portland Pilots on Saturday at Chiles Center. Nee Harrison called for a foul. Some opportunity for some reserves to get some playing time, and Mark Few to rest his frontline guys as they'll take on the San Diego Toreros here on Saturday, a team that they went down to the wire with in San Diego a few weeks ago, where Kevin Pangos hit a shot late. And then San Diego nearly had a chance to win that game in the final seconds, but Christopher Anderson and the Toreros could not get a shot off in the waning seconds.
And I watched that game. I really thought Anderson, who's jet quick, one of the smaller players in the country, in a 2-point game, really had a chance to probably get all the way to the rim and get some type of shot up, but tried to run a dribble handoff, and they were not able to get a shot off, as you said.
Landry Eddy with the rebound. And inside it goes out of bounds to the Santa Clara Broncos. But Gonzaga, firm control of this one. A dominant performance by the number 3 team in the land. ESPNU's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, the perfect combination of chocolate and peanut butter performance. Number 3 Gonzaga, 79-36 over Santa Clara here tonight. And the Broncos, who had visions of an upset of the number 3 team in the land in their 20th win. But Gonzaga, other ideas rolling toward their 9th straight win. And 26-2, but there were happier times for Dick Davey and the Santa Clara Broncos here at the Kennel. Scott Doherty with the jumper. And Brody Angling with the bucket for Santa Clara, snapping Gonzaga's 50-game home winning streak back in February of 2007. And the Broncos stunned the crowd here, winning by 11. They were trying to do that tonight. This is a good veteran Santa Clara team, well coached by Kerry Keating. But they also ran into a buzzsaw tonight in Gonzaga.
Well, we've talked about the experience that they have on this roster. Kevin Foster, over 2,000 points. Mark Trasolini, Raymond Cowles. They're going to lose over 4,000 points next season. But Kerry Keating was very high on his recruiting class that he has coming in. Young men by the name of Jalen Richard, Jared Brownridge, and Jarvis Pugh. 3 excellent wings. Jalen Richard from Poston Butte High School out of Arizona is a big-time guard. Jared Brownridge, a great shooter from Waubonsie Valley High School. And Jarvis Pugh, a long, athletic 3-man out of Plano, Easton, Texas, where his team is the #4 team in the state. He talked so glowingly of what his staff has done in recruiting. Sam Scholl, Justin Kearns, Jesse Pruitt, bringing in some excellent players for the Broncos next season.
Crowd going nuts is the last walk-on who has not played tonight yet for the Zags, Brian Baskar. He's at the scorer's table getting set to check in. 46-point lead, but Nee Harrison makes it 44 with his bucket inside.
Nee Harrison was a big-time contributor last year with Mark Trasolini out due to injury. Harrison averaged 10.5 points a game last season, played 25 minutes. Minutes really down this year, though.
Shimmick Karnowski is fouled. He'll go to the free throw line. ESPNU's Saturday Showcase features one of the top teams in the country at 5. It's a Big 12 showdown. Pierre Jackson of the Bears square off against the Sooners. Then at 7, Kenny Boynton and the Gators look to avoid the upset as they host Arkansas. Saturday Showcase presented by 5 Hour Energy. Baylor, Oklahoma at 5. Arkansas, Florida at 7. On ESPNU and also live on Watch ESPN.
Baylor really needs a win. They lost to Iowa State at home tonight. They need some resume builders, some quality wins if they want to get into the NCAA tournament. And for Florida, a revenge game. They lost to Arkansas on the road. Florida playing without Will Uguette, but they're still one of the best and most efficient teams in the country on both ends of the floor. Shoot the 3 ball really well, and one of the top 5 defensive teams as far as giving up points.
This ball picked up by Brandon Clark for Santa Clara. He's had a nice game, really. Maybe the only silver lining tonight for the Broncos is the job that Brandon Clark has done. There is Brandon Clark with the steal. And the goaltend. Brian Baskar, the walk-on, showing off his vertical leap.
Well, nice steal here by Clark. And he goes up a little bit. Ball was above the cylinder. He beat it off the glass. Easy call by the official.
Shimmick Karnowski with the rip. And Gonzaga just pouring it on here. Brandon Clark is fouled on his way to the basket. Elandrieti the foul. I'm looking forward to a good one we're going to see tomorrow night down the road in Eugene.
A big game in the Pac-12. Oregon in first place by 1 game. Cal, arguably the hottest team on the West Coast, probably. Alan Crabb playing some phenomenal.
Other than Gonzaga. They're just at a different level right now. Santa Clara basketball. Kyle Perricone coming in as senior walk-on from Palo Alto. Or Gonzaga basketball, rather. That game tipping off on ESPN2 tomorrow night. at 6. And another Pac-12 important battle in Corvallis tomorrow night. Stanford, Oregon State, right here on ESPNU. It's an 8 o'clock start Pacific time. Greg Robinson's Oregon State Beavers against Dwight Powell and Stanford. Cardinal really need that one. Ski Landry, Eddie missing, and Santa Clara runs down the loose ball after Stanford was rolling along, but swept at home by the LA schools last weekend.
Stanford has 2 forwards that you should really watch play. Josh Eustace and Dwight Powell, both having excellent seasons for the Cardinal.
Pretty move by Denzel Johnson. Santa Clara in danger of their worst scoring output in Kerry Keating's 6 seasons as the Broncos head coach. And a foul. And getting a chance at the foul line, Brian Bashkar. So the walk-on will go to the line here. 2 free throws. And looking for the first points of his college career. Robert Garrett has fouled out, being saluted by the faithful here at the kennel. There will be better days ahead for Santa Clara. I can promise you that.
Look at this. You don't think they're into it for their teammates that don't get to play a lot and that cheer them on and practice hard every day? This is a true definition of a team, and you can see they want these guys to score and knock down a shot.
And Bakamis missing the 3. Here comes Santa Clara. Final 40 seconds here at the kennel. But Gonzaga inching closer to wrapping up the regular season title in the WCC. They'll go to 13-0. 3 games remaining on the docket for the Zags. 26-2 overall. Coming up next, Unite is coming up. After we are done here at the kennel, Mike Hart will join the festivities this evening. The all-everything player for the Gonzaga Bulldogs and the #3 team in the land. Absolutely sensational tonight.
Well, an unbelievable performance from Gonzaga. From tip-off to finish, totally dominated. Kelly Olynyk showing why he's a National Player of the Year candidate, and the Zags showing why they are a legit national title contender.
Led by 17 from Elias Harris. It matches the largest win ever for Gonzaga over Santa Clara, and for the Broncos, the fewest points they have scored under Kerry Keating in his 6 seasons at Santa Clara. For Miles Simon, our outstanding ESPNU crew, Roxy Bernstein saying so long from Gonzaga. Coming up next on ESPNU, Unite.